Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Imperial HoloNet. I am JID123. Today I'm joined by Redleader and Jake, Nathan Snyder, and Jake Carlson. And today, we are here to discuss the upcoming Spider-Man game. Yes, the upcoming PS4 Spider-Man game in development right now. We are going to do some fun Spidey speculation, or as we call it, Spideylation. And, yeah, this is going to be fun. So, I think the best place to start is we just give our overall impressions of what we think of the game as of what we have seen so far. And I'll start us off. So as you guys probably know, I'm kind of like the Spidey version of this group because,
That sounds horrifying.
yeah, I know. But, because I really just know Spider-Man from the films. I haven't watched the cartoons because I'm lazy and I don't have, and TV doesn't like me, or the internet. But apart from that, I really just know Spider-Man through the movies. But, that being said, this game looks really cool. It looks kind of like a Spider clone of Arkham, and, if that's a good thing or not, we'll discuss later. Although, as I say, if you're gonna clone the best. That's what they did with Jango Fett in Star Wars. Oh, yeah. I like the mechanics. I like the open world. The graphics look incredible. I'm just curious about the story and learning more about the Spideyverse through this game, even if it's like a game version, abridged kind of thing, where, it's not just like the comics, but it's close. It's kind of close, depending on how it's written. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And so I'll pass it down to Nathan. What are your overall thoughts of the Spider-Man games as you have seen it so far?
Well, I'm pretty much excited for this. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, and I've read a lot of the comics. I grew up with the films, loved the characters, watched a lot of the TV shows and cartoons. This game, we haven't had a good Spider-Man game in a while, to be honest. And look at this. I'm still a little bit skeptical in parts, but so far from what I'm seeing, I'm kind of loving this. Really, I like the graphics, some of the designs. Even if I'm not I'm kind of a little bit not a fan of parts of the silver striping on the silver coloring on the suit, but I could probably get used to it. Graphically, it looks nice. Yeah, I want to know what the story is a little bit more. I'm liking the combat system. I'm liking the combat system a lot. It's very Arkham, even though they've kind of done that before. But I feel like they could tweak it. They'll probably tweak Wine Club wall. Yeah, I just want to know more about this, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Even if I'm a little bit skeptical on one writer working on it, but that's just nitpicking.
Okay. Red, how about you?
I was not following this very closely, but I've been watching a little bit of the gameplay stuff, and mostly my investment in this is kind of experimental, seeing where superhero games are going. Because, Marvel vs. Capcom is kind of back, and Injustice is sort of still going, but in terms of just straight up doing a superhero game about that hero just doing stuff in their own world, this is the only one right now. And so that's cool, but there's certainly weight on its shoulders for that.
Definitely. Jake, now for you.
I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm somebody who is getting more familiar with Spider-Man in the comics, and I'm very familiar with the Arkham games. So just to kind of echo what other people have said, I'm looking forward to this, even though we don't have a whole lot of details about the narrative of the game. And to me, that's what's going to differentiate this game as either good or bad, or good or great, because what we've seen from the gameplay, the mechanics, the graphics, the way the game is going to function, all of that stuff looks really good. But if this has a subpar narrative like Arkham Knight did, then I think the game would remain as just being good. But if it has a really good story, a really good narrative, then I think it would it'll be a really great game.
Yeah, so I guess let's go into narrative just a little bit since that's we're all kind of talking about here. So the writers for this game are John Pacetti, Christos Gage, and I apologize if I'm butchering their names, Ben Affman, and Dan Slott. Dan Slott is the one we are all kind of skeptical on, at least you guys, because I've never read any of his stuff. So
Yeah.
So apart from Slott, do you know any of these other writers? I will give you the Wikipedia link in case I butchered their names to the point where you couldn't understand who they were.
I don't know really any of the writers. I mean, I'm familiar with Dan Slott only because only because of like him being infamous in my mind for not really having the best beat on Peter Parker's voice. And just to kind of get that negative thing out of the way first, that's really the only thing that I foresee potentially being a problem is Peter Parker's voice in this. And I don't mean like him as a character, because they seem to have set up the conflict with Mr. Negative really well. But like the one sort of potential red flag that I've seen from all the gameplay and all the descriptions we've gotten are the quips, because they're really bad. Like they're really, really bad. So I hope that stuff is okay. But I mean, we have a lot of information about what's going to be going on in the narrative. So once other people give their thoughts, I can sort of run down a list of what we know, and we can get specific thoughts as to what people think about those things.
Sure. How about you go, Nate? I'm sure you have a lot to say about our good friend Mr. Slott.
Oh, gee. I have a lot of nice things to say about that guy. I think... I know Christos Gage. Yeah, he's a comic writer. He's co-written with Slott a bunch of times with Spidey as well. Yeah, Slott a little bit of the red flag. As for narrative, so far it's got some interesting ideas from what I've seen. Yeah, I am actually interested in what they want to do with Mr. Negative and how he will come into play into the main story. I'm also kind of curious what they're going to do with MJ, since she's going to be the reporter, and they said that she might be playable.
Wait, what?
She is playable.
Why is she a reporter?
We just got the confirmation the other day that Mary Jane is before we talk about her job, we know that picking up this game, Peter has been Spider-Man for 8 years. He's 23. And we pick up at the beginning of the game, the first mission is you defeating the Kingpin. And that mission rekindles sort of this relationship that you have with Mary Jane, because Peter and Mary Jane have been dating on and off since he became Spider-Man for 8 years. But when the game picks up, they haven't spoken in 6 months. So then the game is going to sort of like reignite their relationship. And she is going to be playable. She's a reporter, an investigative reporter for the Daily Bugle. And there's like a scene in one of the trailers where Spider-Man is like upside down talking to her, kind of like in the first Raimi film. But Brian Intihar, the creative director for the game, made a point specifically to say that this isn't like him going to her to like kiss her or anything. He's going to her and she's giving him directions as to what to do. So they're really trying to make her a more integral part of the game and not be, a damsel in distress who's constantly concerned about his safety as Spider-Man.
Okay, that's kind of a criticism that's always bugged me for years. Yeah, she's kind of damsel in distress, but not really. In the comics, they've always made her an interesting character, despite she's she's kind of beautiful and she's an actress and supermodel. Yeah, the relationship has always been on and off in the comics, but it's been an interesting pairing as well. And yeah, that was my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of having her have an integral role in the Spider-Man side of things.
Yeah,
personally, because what makes MJ interesting is she doesn't have involvement in that part of his life. That's why so many other characters have reporter love interests, or even characters who didn't. We retroactively do that, uh, like giving Batman Linda Page and whatnot. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I like the idea of the on and off thing because, like,
That
I
sounds
think it
very
was
Spidey.
I think it was the beginning of the. Was it Stern or Mantelo? I think it might have been Mantelo, where she left the book for like 2 or 3 years and came back at a certain point. Like, that's cool, but I don't know about her being a reporter.
That sounds
Yeah,
like Batman-y to me, just hearing reporter. Like,
I think more like with other DC, because a lot of DC heroes have like reporter girlfriends. I mean, Superman, Flash.
Both Flashes, well, not both, but Barry Allen and Wally West. I'm not really like super against them trying to do that because because Insomniac just in general is really nervous about this game. Like in comparison to like Rocksteady, or like when you heard the developers like do interviews and stuff, it was all like they're talking about this game, they love the character, and that's still there with Insomniac. But the way that Insomniac is talking about the game, it seems to me like they're really nervous because they want people to pick up this game and they want people to enjoy it. But one of the goals that they set for this game was getting Mary Jane more involved with Peter Parker's life. And so that doesn't mean, to them, that doesn't just mean Peter Parker, that means Spider-Man as well. And while I am kind of uncertain with MJ being the one who's working at the Daily Bugle, we do know that Peter is working somewhere, but Brian Intihar has said that he's not going to reveal where Peter is working until the game ships. So it's a huge spoiler of like what's going to happen in the game.
It's
where
probably
he's
Oscorp.
it's not Oscorp. It's
Probably
it's
Oscorp.
It's not, because one of the side missions in the game. So we'll get to side missions in a little bit because we know what 3 or 4 of them are going to be. But one of them is where Harry Osborn is overseas in the game, and so he's having Peter check in on Oscorp, like research and stuff around the city. And if that was already Peter's job, it would seem kind of redundant for Harry Osborn to be tasking him with doing that.
Well, unless that's just not his job within Oscorp.
Yeah.
That's fair. I just felt like that would be a little bit repetitive, especially because we know Avengers Tower, a Wakandan Embassy, and the Sanctum Sanctorum are in the game.
okay.
Baxter Building?
We don't know about that, but I mean, we'll talk about potential DLC because we already know what one of them are going to be. But I'm thinking that it might be something. It might be the Baxter Building, because like that would make sense to me, because I don't think they would go with Tony Stark, considering that we just had that, and because the suit is the advanced suit is what they're calling it, with the white spider on it, is so like similar to what they did with Homecoming visually and with the narrative of Peter being mentored by Tony Stark so much. I don't think they would go that far and do that, but it might be the Baxter Building. It could be Oscorp, but I'm not sure where else it would be. I'm not as well versed in Marvel as some of you guys are, but it's definitely a really big spoiler, or else they would have talked about it already.
That actually gets
Maybe he's working for Roxxon.
Maybe. That actually does get into a point I wanted to bring up in terms of narrative. Although you kind of answered my question, Jake, with the information you gave, is what sort of universe will this be? Like, clearly this is a Marvel universe and not just Spideyverse. By Spideyverse, I mean, it's just Spider-Man, nobody else exists. I'm curious, like...
Yeah.
Spider-Verse is a loaded term.
I know.
Yeah, Spider-Verse is just basically the multiverse and the interweb and different versions, like 2099, Spider-Ham.
Oh boy. But I mean, like, because we got Kingpin, that's the Daredevil thing. So I'm curious how they'll.
He's a
He was Spider-Man villain first.
He's both.
Everyone steals each other's villains. Like Purple Man was a Daredevil villain, Kingpin was a Spider-Man villain. Everyone shares at Marvel.
Okay.
The Beetle has been everyone's villain. He fights around.
But it just makes you wonder.
I just got that.
Boy. But I do wonder, like if the other heroes will play a part in this game, or they'll just be mentions. I mean, I'm sure.
Go ahead, Joel.
I'm just saying, since this is Spider-Man, I'm sure they probably might want to keep it low key. I mean, low key, not that kind of low key, but small scale gang crime. Not the we need Iron Man and Captain America here.
Well, that's pretty much what they've said they're going to be doing. They said that this is a Spider-Man game and we're focusing on Spider-Man, but they said this is a Marvel universe, so it would be dumb not to ignore that. We know that, so there are going to be 3 DLC packs that are coming out. We know the first one is going to be with Black Cat, but then the remaining 2 are probably going to be with Avengers or Fantastic Four or something like that. Because the way that they talked about it is basically the way that you just described, Joel, where they're trying to keep it within one Spider-Man universe. So not like the Spider-Verse, but just Peter Parker, Spider-Man, him doing his thing. So it's not going to be Hulk or Captain America showing up. But also that's important because Miles Morales has been in the trailers, but they've said that this is Peter Parker's game. So Miles is in the game. He's, I think, working at the homeless shelter under Aunt May, and we know, obviously, he's a Spider-Man fan, but they've said that this is Peter Parker's game, so I doubt he'll be Spider-Man in any capacity, although they might give us one of his skins.
Right. I'm gonna put bet money that eventually there will be a Fantastic Four DLC, especially once the Fox Disney deal goes through. And once that ink dries, it's like money in the bank.
Well, they are bringing it back in the comics.
Exactly, because the ink's about to dry off that deal. Like, we gotta get ready, folks. We're finally ready. We own them again.
Well, and that deal is just for the movies. That has nothing to do with other media.
But the only reason Fantastic Four hasn't been involved in other media is because they didn't have it with the movies.
Right.
But I don't want
Marvel is spiteful AF.
Oh, yeah, and they're rich enough to be. But I don't want to get too much into that. That's a different subject. Where should we go? Red, how about you take us somewhere?
I guess I just want to go back to the MJ and Black Cat thing. It's kind of sad that, if they wanted someone who was more involved directly in Peter's thing, they didn't just let Black Cat be the love interest. Because we keep doing this in Spider-Man games where Black Cat's like a side quest in every Spider-Man game.
I've sadly not played any of the old Spider-Man games.
Make her a main part of the story. I know, I'm a Black Cat fan. Funny, since I don't like Catwoman, but yeah, I digress. It is cool that we're getting new villains like Mr. Negative, because he was a slot creation, right?
Yes. Yeah, basically, he was Martin Lee. He was basically, he also helped with the homeless shelter, the soup kitchen that Aunt May was working at during around Brand New Day, and that was a long time for a while until he kind of got exposed for all the bullshit he was doing behind the scenes as Mr. Negative.
I'm glad we're getting him as a villain because I didn't know he existed. So it's again that one of those things that like I get to expand my knowledge through the game of Spider-Man's like rogue and his little bubble of the Marvel universe. Like I guess we should call it.
It's cool because he has definitely the best rogues gallery of Marvel.
It's like Batman,
Yeah.
I mean Thor compares, but they didn't necessarily create them. They just literally took Norse gods.
Yay.
I mean, come on. Mysterio, Kraven, Doc Ock, Green Goblin. They're awesome.
Isn't Gabi in this game? Or I know Norman Osborn is.
The thing is that Norman Osborn is the mayor of New York City, and he's running for re-election when the game opens. So I think the election of Norman Osborn is going to be a really big part of this game.
I would be a little concerned. I kind of hope they don't make him like, oh, he's a surprise villain like Ra's al Ghul was in Arkham City, or it's like he starts to steal the show, like I think
that they're a little bit smarter than that.
Alrighty. I don't know. I mean, because
this is Spider-Man. We always pull out the Norman was the villain the whole time.
Yeah, especially like right now with dug it on Slot's final arc with the stupid Red Goblin bullshit.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, because Norman Osborn is kind of like one of the
Green
more
Goblin
famous.
with the Carnage symbiote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
interesting idea, but
yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like we worried. Like, I kind of want these lesser known villains to be the spotlight for me because I can get to know them instead of like, hey, look, here's one of the villains from the Raimi films. Or the ones where everybody knows, like Doc Ock or the Venom. The ones everybody knows. Here, he's the main villain instead, so we can make money. That's my.
Well, we do have. Oh,
Here's the
shockers.
main question:
Oh, sorry.
Is Rocket Racer going to be in here?
we don't know.
He should be.
That would be cool.
I'm just gonna run down a list of some of the villains that we have in here. So 3 side missions, just so we don't talk about the main sort of story yet. We know one side mission has Taskmaster, where he's placed bombs all over the city that you have to go disarm. One of them is the Oscorp thing, and then the other one, which we've seen with Shocker, is a side mission. So Shocker, we know, is going to be a side mission. He'll probably be a little part of the main story. But inside Peter's but inside Peter's apartment, there are news clippings of villains that have appeared and he's defeated. And those are Rhino, Scorpion, Electro, and Vulture. And we know that for the first 8 years of his career as Spider-Man, Kingpin has been this sort of big, overarching villain that he's finally defeated. So we're picking up this game where we are in this timeline because he's finally defeated like his first big villain, and he's moving on to other things in the form of obviously Mr. Negative. But
I just had a realization of who Peter could be working for. So he has like news clippings and shit around his room, and he's working for something that they don't want to spoil. What if he's working at Nelson and Murdoch?
Ooh.
That would be interesting.
Speaking of which, the news clippings you just mentioned, yeah, they pretty much use them as villains in the other Spider-Man games as well. Same with Kingpin and Shocker. And also, we've used Black Hat several times.
I mean, every Spider-Man villain's been used in a game at some point.
Yeah, I think that they're just trying to be smart about marketing Mr. Negative and Kingpin as like the big two in the beginning of the game because they really haven't been featured that heavily in any Spider-Man media before outside the comics. And one of the producers
and the Spider-Man animated series, because Kingpin is
right.
all over that.
Oh
yeah.
I saw
that. And I forget who talked about it. One of the producers, but they said that Mr. Negative is gonna be like the big bad over the first act of the game. And I'm paraphrasing. They didn't say it like that, but that tells me that we've got 2 more big bads up there.
Wait.
And the 2 ones that aren't listed under the news clippings are Doc Ock and Green Goblin.
I hope they don't pull an Arkham Origins on us. I mean, look at Red's. You don't see Red's little icon here, but we all knew who was under that mask in the Arkham Origins now when they did that bait and switch.
Yeah.
I still am okay with that, even though I wasn't at first.
Well, I mean, just because they have multiple villains in the story doesn't mean it's going to fail. Spider-Man Homecoming showed us you can do a 2.5-hour story that has multiple villains in it and have it work.
I mean, I don't want Mr. Negative to turn into Green Goblin, Donald Trump, Norman Osborn, although that would be kind of cool. I
assume they're going to play around with the whole who's the Green Goblin thing.
I hope he sounds like Donald Trump, just so I can start doing Will Dafoe lines in a Donald Trump impression.
I don't think they would go that far, because Fisk Towers has that like gold like lettering on it, and somebody asked them, they're like, "Hey, this is kind of like the same like logo as Trump Tower. Is that intentional?" And they were quick to be like, "No, like we're not trying to do that." But the thing is, Mr. Negative, they pitched him as like the perfect antagonist for Peter because he's a villain that challenges both Peter Parker and Spider-Man because his aunt works for Martin Lee, and so that sort of marries the 2 identities together for this perfect sort of conflict. But that makes me think then that Norman Osborn wouldn't be the ultimate big bad of the game if Mr. Negative is just a main villain in the first act, because it's kind of the same thing. But then I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, so is Doc Ock, so is the Vulture, so is Shocker. Like every Spider-Man villain has like really big like identity issues, and so does Peter Parker. So I don't know if they would do Norman Osborn as Green Goblin, at least in this game, when they have marketed it as Mr. Negative as the main villain.
They could be
because it's businessmen who have this benevolent, like public perception, but then behind the scenes they have this villainous side to them as well. And so that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, kind of the same thing with Mr. Negative. Yeah, Mr. Negative, Green Goblin, Kingpin, they all kind of have that thing of, oh, I'm a businessman that has a public image of being nice and good to all mankind, and then behind the scenes it's like, all right, let's just rob shit.
Best business.
I mean, all they need to do is just have Harry be Goblin.
That's fair. We know he's going to be overseas in the game, so I don't think they would.
Well, he says that.
You never know.
It's a villain's game. He can always show up.
That'd be true.
Dead, and he ended up being the main villain of Clone Saga.
Which one? The original or the 90s?
Wasn't he the villain of both?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Of course. Of fucking course. But yeah, it's good to see Doc Ock, because I don't think he's been the main villain of any of the Spider-Man games since... Was it Ultimate?
No, 2. Oh, wait, which one? Wait, which villain?
Ock.
Oh, the Spider-Man 2 movie game.
Well, so it has been a while, and I'm of the opinion that Doc Ock is Spider-Man's archenemy. I know people love Venom and Goblin more. I lean towards Ock as the archenemy, and so
the thing is that Peter Parker has an antagonist for like each part of his adolescence. Mm-hmm. So like Green Goblin is a better foil for him when he's in his earlier 20s, whereas Doc Ock is a better foil for him when he's, coming out of high school, going into college. Most
of the Goblin stuff happens after I think he graduates high school. It's kind of like college is Goblin, grad school is Hobgoblin, and Doc Ock. Post that, Doc Ock, Venom once he gets married and is in that stage of his life, and then the Spider-Man. I was breaking this down with Nathan a while back. So then it becomes 90s Jackal, and then 2000s onwards, it's the Spider-Man writers.
I like.
Well, Jackal. Well, Jackal's been around since like 70s, like the first appearance of the Punisher. Mm-hmm. Then they had that that original Clone Saga. I thought he died. Ben Reilly survived. Yada yada. 90s, etc.
Now the archenemy is Dan Slott and Genis, or not Genis. What's his name?
Quesada.
I love this idea of just every time Spider-Man grows up, he's like graduating, and the villain's there to like, congratulations, you have passed my arch enemy ship of your life. Now we move on to bigger and eviler things.
They always die for like 10 years. I mean, they did that when they transitioned from Ock over to Jackal in the 90s. Because remember, there was the new Doc Ock for like a hot second.
Oh yeah, the lady octopus. I remember her.
Mm.
Cool. Yeah, let's see. Where should we take this next?
I guess.
Want to keep
about the main story.
Will we have allies? I mean, will we have MJ, that's one ally? Will we have other allies? Any word?
Miles Morales is in this.
Oh, I got a question. Who is the person Peter's talking to in the first?
Apparently, it's one of the cops.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing that I have a reservation about. Thanks for bringing that up. So, because this is a Spider-Man game, and he's not going to be silent, not talking to himself like Batman would in the Arkham games. They have given Peter a contact within the New York Police Department that he sort of works with. Her name is Yuri, that he like works with as he's going through missions. So, and this is sort of like a proxy for inner monologue. But at the same time, frequently when that choice is made to give a character someone else to talk to bounce dialogue off of when you're adapting comic books because you don't have the inner monologue, a lot of the times you can fall into the trap of making the character seem less competent because they're having to constantly throw information and exposition at someone else and then get told what to do, a la Barry Allen in the Flash TV show.
Or
And so I really
Supergirl Supergirl having like a team of 5 fucking people.
exactly.
I don't want to complain about Homecoming because we're gonna be here all day. I don't care.
I'll say this. Friday, I will admit I liked, but yeah, I am hesitant with this kind of thing with Spidey.
I don't know why he can't talk to his head. I talk in my head all the time.
Why can't he just talk to himself?
Yeah, from the bits of other Spider-Man games I've played, he talks to himself pretty often.
And we know he's doing that in the game anyway. Like all the quips that we've heard, like there's one part earlier in the game where he's like opening up a vent to get into this building, and he's like, "My own personal ventrance," which is like the stupidest quip I've ever heard. But if he's willing to say that to himself, then he shouldn't need someone to give expositional dialogue to. But
Especially
just because I'm hesitant on that, just because I'm hesitant on that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I'm just really holding my fingers that doesn't slow down the pace of the game and add unnecessary dialogue and like really drag down the rest of the game.
And part of what works with Spider-Man is particularly him being on his own most of the time.
Yeah.
I agree with that. He's kind of like it's sort of like Batman in his early years. It's just him. Well, there's Alfred too. Can't forget about Alfred.
Yeah.
Well, I think what Red means is that when he's in the field, he's usually not, working with other people. I mean, obviously, the Spider-Man comics, the original Lee Ditko run, did a great job of making that like feel like a lived-in Marvel universe, which is another thing that Homecoming did well because Spider-Man is always interacting with heroes of the generation that's older than him. But when he's not doing that, he's on his own. He doesn't have someone, like, he doesn't have a guy in a chair.
Like, wasn't Daredevil his first team up in, like, issue 2 or something?
No, that was Fantastic Four. Well, Fantastic
that's
Four,
right, Fantastic Four.
In issue number 1. He met Daredevil in issue 16.
Okay, sorry, I knew it was somebody. I just forgot who it was.
I mean, Daredevil's the closest he has to a superhero friend.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would hope to see. I do hope to see Daredevil.
That bromance is awesome. I really want that to be here.
I think it would work honestly because it is marketable. I mean, Daredevil is still a big thing just because of the Netflix show now. There's like, hey, look, Daredevil. Yeah, look, you Kingpin. Remember these from the Netflix show? Money. That's my cynical side showing, but yeah, I would love to see that. But back on the main story, I suppose.
Is Madam Web in this?
I don't think so.
We haven't heard anything about that yet.
I'd be curious to see how many other villains they bring in besides the one we talked about as well. Like,
keep going.
Like, because I know we have the list already, but I'm sure like there's like what ones that I might be saving up for like twists and the third act.
Yeah, like we didn't know about Professor Pig in Arkham Knight until the game came out. Well, we had we knew about the dead bodies, but we didn't exactly know it was Pig. We were led to believe it was Zaz.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if they're not willing to disclose where Peter is working, I would imagine that there are a lot more villains in the game that we're not letting on. Brian Intihar was asked about Venom, and all he said was, I think that's a cool character. And something that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about is that the design of the spider on his advanced suit, because when you start the game, you start in the classic Spider-Man suit.
Yep.
In case you guys didn't know that, you start in that suit, and after the first mission where you defeat the Kingpin, Peter builds that suit in the game, and there's a story reason why he does so. But the design of the White Spider, as soon as I saw that suit, I was like, that looks really cool, but why is the spider the shape of the Venom symbol?
Yeah, that kind of bugged
Because-
me when I first saw it too.
And so I was like, this is their own continuity, so does this mean like Venom and that story has happened and that's just the symbol he's wearing now to like resemble that he's overcome this? Because in the comics, after he gets the symbiote off and defeats Venom, he still wears the black suit, but it's cloth. And so I thought that that's what they were going for, like he was going to visually represent with his suit that he's overcome what went on with Venom, but instead of wearing the black suit, they were just going to have the White Spider. But I don't think that's happened yet. And if it has, they've done a good job of covering it up. But I have a sneaking suspicion that the like design of the White Spider is going to have something to do with Venom in the game.
I'm kind of part of me feels like I hope they don't do that because I'm a little tired of Venom at this point. Not because of the movie. I'm just talking about like
What movie?
Venom and
I didn't know it was a movie.
exactly.
Movie.
I'm just talking about like I'm kind of a little tired of Venom and Spider-Man games. Honestly,
I can see that. I kind of agree as well. I mean, then again, we're getting Norman Osborn, and so, well, he's in everything. Yeah. Sorry, lost train of thought. Do we have more to say on the main story? Do you want to get game mechanics?
I guess if we have a cop character, why wasn't it Jane DeWolf?
yeah.
That's a good suggestion.
I'm taking. Oh, I hope we do see J. Jonah Jameson in this game somehow.
I think we saw him in the trailers, right?
Yeah, he has his own radio show in addition to running the Daily Bugle.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, he did. In the current comics, he does have his own like news network since he left the Daily Bugle because of issues.
Oh, I hope.
I know that's what it was originally, right? He had a magazine as well. Yeah, his first appearance.
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope it's one of those radio shows that kind of pops in and out of the game when you're if you're intercepting transmissions.
Oh,
Yeah, that's exactly
what
it is.
That's awesome.
I don't know if it is. That'd be cool.
It is.
Oh, good. I love. Oh, awesome. So yeah. Game. I guess we can talk about game. I can't actually. No, I got a better idea. We'll merge the two together. Did we lose Jake? I think we might have lost.
Yeah, I think we did.
They lost Jake. Good. Oh no, we need him back because he needs to. Because my thing was going to be, will this game take place over multiple days and not do the Arkham thing of, it's only one night.
No, it's gonna be multiple days, judged by the way it looks.
Oh, add them to the call. Hang on.
Hello?
Oh, there you are.
Okay, there we go.
Good. You're back.
Did I just drop out of the call?
Yeah, you dropped
Yeah.
out, but we're still recording. so
Sorry.
we're good. Well, my question was, and although I think Nathan answered it, how many days is this game going to take place? Like, are you going to do a day and night cycle? Will it be like how open is this world? Pretty much.
There is a day and night cycle. We know it's based on the missions in the game, but we don't know if when you beat the game, if you're going to have an option to like go out into New York City in the rain or the day or at night. I hope they make that option because that would be really cool. But as far as the scope of it goes, they said that they have a really big map. And what was the first part of your question again? I'm sorry.
Oh no,
Multiple days, right?
Yeah. Well, really day and night cycle, but yeah, multiple days.
Yeah, because how the Arkham games are all set during a 8-hour period, or 10 in Arkham Knight's case.
So much in 8 hours.
And we know the game starts in September, or like the end of September, and then it takes place over a few weeks in October or something like that.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe the next time we get back to Arkham games, they'll finally understand that you can have an open world game with all kinds of side missions and still have it take place over a period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be nice. I mean, hey, Shadow War and Shadow Mordor do that perfectly. Um,
Yep.
they don't tell you how many days have passed. You just know. But yeah. So, do you guys want to add anything? I'm kind of leading the conversation.
I guess one thing that I'm really excited for is the city seems way more interactive than the Arkham games, for instance.
People, civilians, cars. Yeah, it's not an abandoned wasteland.
Yeah. Yeah. People looking and just yelling, "Yo, Spidey!" or "Hey, Spidey, you suck."
I wonder if it's gonna be based off that canceled Flash game they wanted to do a while back. A little bit the interaction of the city.
Wait. What is this? There was what?
A canceled Flash. I did. Who showed me that documentary of the canceled Flash game?
Wait, you know about this, right, Nathan?
It was probably Ian.
No, I didn't know about this.
Oh, there was an old Flash game that got canceled.
It was from like 2007, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Show him the documentary later on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I used it. I lost the link. Oh well. Oh shoot, Jake's gone again. Dang it. But yeah, I do like the interaction of the city. I'm curious to know how much the city will. I guess I wonder if there's gonna be like a choice system or something, or it's like if you do something as Spidey. Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh, a little static. You're a little staticky, Jake. Oh dear.
And he was eating his mic.
This is the technical problems portion of the podcast, folks. You know how they love this. We love this segment. Robert's going to take us somewhere where Jake tries to come back from the void.
What suits have we found out about in terms of custom skins? Or not custom, but other skins?
Classic, advanced, and we've seen Iron Spider in that one clip the other day.
What suits do you want to see? How about that?
Let me think. The Raimi one, we already seen the classic one, but also Noir 2099, Scarlet Spider. I can think of others off the top of my head, but I'm kind of blanking.
I'd like to see the armored suit, like the bulletproof one that's silver from the 90s. Ultimate would be nice with the larger eyes.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. But look, apart from the ones we know about, what about?
Oh, Amazing Spider-Man and Homecoming would be nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like the homemade suit from Homecoming, because even if I wasn't a big fan of the suit from Homecoming, I liked the homemade one.
Yeah.
And it'd be easier now than ever to do a just pack that is the live action suits.
Yeah.
Okay, coming a little bit better.
It'd be great if we got the 70s TV show suit.
Yes.
Jake, can you hear us now? Are you better? Or you might be on mute. Nope, still gone. That'd be cool. I'm just curious, since MJ is going to be a playable character, what exactly do you do? Is it just like a sneak around thing? I'm sure she can't swing webs and go from skyscraper to skyscraper.
She could probably go on missions and probably report. Although the whole webbing skyscraping, they're kind of doing that in Renew Your Vows, but that's another story. Back to this. Yeah, like, she's probably just going to be on missions, maybe call Peter or something. I don't know.
Take a picture. That is your mission.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool to do stealth-related stuff like that. Information gathering.
I'm curious how they're gonna handle. I guess we're getting the game mechanics. Since we're Spiderman's not never seems like the kind of person who would kill his enemies. Not many of the things I've seen. So I'm curious, like, how they handle that, because like, because I remember you.
I mean, I assume they're not gonna have him kill people.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They're just gonna be knocked out, the thugs.
Hello?
Oh, there you
Okay,
are.
there we go.
Hooray.
Yeah, there
Hey,
you go.
I'm back.
Hooray. We're good because you're the only guy with all the information.
Yes, we're talking about how Peter's going to be a murderous person in this game or something.
Zack Snyder's Spider-Man.
Well,
Why
Noir's,
is that?
to be fair, Noir is actually killed before.
Okay. Well, I was just talking about because you were talking about how in some of when you're beating down the enemies, if you launch them over the side of a building.
Yeah. I kind of think it'd be cool if, instead of in the Arkham games where they just hit an invisible wall when you knock them over an edge and they just stay alive, it'd be kind of interesting if you lose a fight if you're not careful about that.
No, so the gameplay that they've revealed, like that E3 trailer from 2017, showed that when you like try to hit bad guys off like the side of a building, you'll web them like back onto the building.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
what I was
don't
talking
kill
about the other day.
Okay.
Is that automatic, or do you have to do that yourself?
I think it's automatic.
That's a good idea. I like that.
I think it'd be cool if you actually had to make sure you don't kill people. That would be great if the Arkham Knight had a mode where you can't mow people down with a car.
I'd lose every 5 seconds. Like, oh dang it!
Oh.
Oh dang it! I'm a crazy driver in video games. I think when you left, Jake, we were talking about the city, the interactions of the city. And any interesting tidbits about like what the world, how the interactions are going to look like, civilians, cars.
You can't beat up civilians, but
Well, Just kidding.
but the melee button for when you're in fights, which is X, turns to the interaction button with civilians, so you can like high five them, take selfies with them, interact with them. And they said that you'll get like points and experience and crafting materials for that. And we know that there is a fast travel system, which is the subway. So we know this game is big enough that even with Spider-Man's advanced web swinging, fast travel is still useful. So that's just kind of a gauge of how big this city is going to be.
Ooh, nice. Something else we talked about, Jake, when you were having the problems, were what suits did you want to see? Any particular suits?
Well, I really want to see just the traditional black suit in the game. I mean, the thing is, they've said that they have over 24 suits they're putting into the game. So that means the classic suit, the advanced suit, we know the Iron Spider suit is going to be in there. So counting off the film versions, the Raimi one is going to be in there. Let's say the black suit from the Raimi films is going to be in there. Let's say that both of the Amazing Spider-Man ones are going to be in there. And then let's say the homemade suit and the Homecoming suit are going to be in there. That's only 9 suits. Like, that's just from film. So they're definitely going to have a lot of stuff from the films and the comics. I would imagine that they would have every suit from the films because they keep saying that they want people to be the Spider-Man they want to be. However, 2 things to note with that. For the first of which is that they said that they have original costumes that they've come up with, which is interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what those are going to be because we know about the punk suit, so I guess that's technically 10. So with the ones that we know are in the game plus all the film versions, that's only 10, and they have over 24. Like, that's insane. But the other thing is that each costume you have to craft with materials, which is really cool, even the pre-order bonus ones. So if you don't pre-order, you get the game, you can still craft those suits. But each suit has their own like special ability that you could bring over to another suit if you have it. So you can be the Spider-Man you want to be. Yes, you can customize.
Oh,
so
cool.
which is really smart on their part because you can bring over like the Shockwave AoE attack from the Spider-Punk suit to the classic Spider-Man suit. Or you could bring the like combat enhanced thing from the classic suit over to the advanced suit. Or if the spider legs are the special ability for the Iron Spider suit, you could bring that over to the Noir suit or whatever. So I'm really looking forward to that system.
Amazing.
I was just talking about how I wished that was the case in the Arkham games with like how I wanted the Golden Age Batman suit to have glass what do you call them? Smoke bombs and stuff like that. That's awesome because customization sometimes is just a skin swap. It's nice to see they're actually putting in the effort.
Indeed.
Yeah, because they want people to be the Spider-Man they want to be, which is a good thing.
You can be Spider-Man. Also,
I want to be the Spider-Man in the Stern run when he tries to clean his costume and leaves it in the tub too long and it gets bleached.
that sound like that'd be sound like
I would
Spider-Man
love
I would
that too.
I've only read that in black and white, but I love the fact that for like 6 issues he has a white suit because it's bleached.
do.
And everyone's like, who's this new person? He's like, nope, it's still the same old Spider-Man. I just forgot it in the bathtub. It's not a thing because he got brine all over his suit, so it smelled like shit
Oh boy.
earlier.
I want bag. I want bag, man.
And now that I think about it, there actually is one more suit that might be in the game. That's another original one, and that's their Insomniacs Universe's version of the wrestling costume called the Spider. That's another one that's posted up in Peter's bedroom. It's got like a blue mask, and then the eyes are there, but instead of the black outline, they're red, and then it has like a red like turtleneck kind of shirt on it, which looks really interesting. So I'm hoping that that's another playable skin. But honestly, even though I like the advanced suit, I think I might need a save file where I just play through the game in the classic suit because reasons.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are good
same.
reasons. I'm sure there are good reasons. What about gadgets? I'm just thinking more Arkham now because I'm just the only comparison I got. Does first of all, does Spider-Man have gadgets?
Yes.
Well, he has the web shooters.
Okay. But
Will he have the spider signal?
Yeah.
Nice. Will it have like a actual purpose?
Oh,
Maybe.
Hold on. I'm looking to see what other gadgets. Okay, so I was looking to see what the name of these are going to be. We know there's a tripwire, a web bomb, a spider drone,
ooh, spider drone. That sounds cool.
and I'm not seeing anything else, but I'm sure we could expect some more to come. Yeah, it's going to feature a variety of tools and gadgets, which will be made by Peter. And there's some quote here that says that there's going to be more gadgets than in Arkham, which is really interesting.
That could be weird.
So,
Arkham had a lot of gadgets.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like there's so many things you could do with webs, you know? So the tripwire, it's basically a proximity mine. You could place it on a wall, and then when an enemy walks past it, it'll go off, and it'll like shoot out a web and then pull them back and stick them to the wall. Or you can place it on an enemy during a fight or in stealth mode, and then it'll latch onto another enemy and it'll pull the enemies together and knock them out. The web bomb is just a pretty self-explanatory thing. And then the spider drone, this is something that I haven't heard about, but it's something you can set up in the air, and then once it's airborne, it'll automatically fire webbing at enemies to either wrap them up or distract them.
So kind of like the spider drones that Doc Ock had when he was Spider-Man.
It says it is a pre-order bonus for players, but Insomniac also confirmed that the pre-order costumes... maybe this is like a special ability of a costume then. Because it says this bad boy, the drone, will come as a pre-order bonus for players, and then Insomniac confirmed that pre-order costumes will be unlockable to all players, so we assume the gadgets will be as well. And then it sounds like, Spider-Man will have more gadgets than Batman, which is really interesting.
I'd actually like to talk about that just for a brief minute. How good or bad is Insomniac with their microtransactions?
I don't think they're that bad. I used to be... Okay, I'm a Ratchet and Clank fan, which Insomniac has made, one of their big licenses. I don't think they've ever done microtransactions at all for those games.
Okay.
They've said that there are no microtransactions.
Okay, well, that's good. Sorry, I just had to bring that up because that's the big controversy when it comes to
Brian Intahar's answer for the question, are there microtransactions, was hell no, which is the best answer.
I like him. Then
take that, EA.
Yeah. Okay. But cool, we're getting some gadgets. I hope there's some customization in terms of taking down baddies. Like, I want to be able to do things with my webs and, all the little cool. I wonder if you can like pull little stunts and stuff when taking out bad guys, apart from just punching.
It'd be cool if each takedown has like 3 or 4 variants, like even if it's the exact same basic takedown.
That'd be cool. I would totally be for that. I got another thing we could talk about. Although we talked about this a little bit. What locations, apart from the one we already know, do you want to see? Like, in terms of overall Marvel or just Spidey?
Daily, off the top of my head, Daily Bugle, maybe his house maybe his old house if family's limited or not. I don't know. His apartment would be cool, but I'm trying to think of other locations.
I have one that's horrible.
Ooh, sure.
What?
Washington Bridge.
Oh.
We are horrible people.
Yes, you are.
That's me.
That's nasty.
I know.
I wonder if there'll be almost like Crime Alley kind of thing you could do, where he goes there and kind of
like lays flowers down or something.
Something like that. Yeah. In the middle when the cars are going past.
And like Norman leaves behind a tape. It's like, how does it feel, Parker, to stand on the very stones that ran with your parents' blood? Oh wait, wrong thing.
To stand on the very stones that ran with your girlfriend's blood. That's how you do it.
Angry, sad, or does that mask help bury your feelings?
I thought it would say, I don't know if this is going to be dark or not, but hey, Spidey, do you have a kink in your neck?
Ooh.
I really wish when I made the Gwen Stacy joke, one of you had said, "Oh snap."
Ah.
I remember like Tara did that during a live show, and he was like, "Oh snap, indeed," and everyone just got really pissed.
We're horrible.
While we're talking about
Science Place where he got the bit by the spider.
That'd be
cool.
Yeah. Jake, sorry. You wanted to say something?
No, that's okay. I was just going to say that I'm looking at some more side quests that I didn't know about, and these may yield some more new locations. So one of them is called General Crime, which is self-explanatory. You stop all kinds of crime. You can stop a store robbery, interrupt a car chase, and Brian Intar says that Spider-Man also busts up drug deals in alleys and encounter situations where Mr. Negative's Inner Demons gang is caught up in a shootout with it in New York PD. And that the general crimes will also change, shift, and combine as you make your way through your games. We saw this in action when the second robbery we stopped evolved into a car chase. Some bad guys got away. Another side mission that I didn't know about is called Black Cat Stakeouts. Ooh. So I know Red is going to like this one, which is from Felicia Black Cat Hardy challenging us to find a lucky cat she had hidden in the environment. It was implied that Black Cat is working on something big, and completing her missions will unravel her story. Then there's the Taskmaster one. There's the Oscorp one, and then Fisk bases. So while Kingpin has been arrested, his business is still going strong, and you'll find bases of bad guys to take down while he's behind bars. These will be function as combat challenges. So that's kind of like taking down the militia bases in Batman Arkham Knight,
or like any given Ubisoft game with the watchtowers.
Yeah. And then the last one here is Peter's old backpacks, and it says along with all the assorted missions you can complete, you will also find Peter's old backpacks all over the city. These backpacks will offer insight into Peter and Spider-Man's backstory leading up to this point in his life. The one we found offered some details about the first web shooters Peter ever made. Insomniac is recording dialogue to accompany each backpack, so Spider-Man can tell you a little bit about what's inside. And these obviously don't cover all the side quests and distractions available in the city. And it's our promise that players will encounter more in the final game, which is really interesting. So it looks like those backpacks will kind of be like the what's it called? Yeah, kind of like the Riddler thing that gives you like the history of like what's going on, kind of like the tapes in the Arkham series.
Yeah, or like the Arkham City story things that you get sometimes.
Mm-hmm. That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. I'm curious what sort of famous Spider-Man stories were like referenced when.
I just realized
Ravencroft.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there.
Maybe.
I would love if we went there. That'd be interesting.
Would you explain who Ravencroft is in the summary?
Ravencroft is
institution place.
Arkham, but it's
Oh.
Arkham, but for Spider-Man.
Oh, that's cool. That'd be cool, yeah. I'll be down for that. What about, like, Spider-Man stories you want referenced in the game? Like, especially if we're gonna do, like, this... Maybe some stories happened, but others didn't because of the continuity and the timeline of which of this universe is created on. Like, do you want X Spider-Man story, but not Y? You know what I mean?
I hope, like, when Stacy died happened. Probably
Yeah.
also have Death of Jane DeWolf in there. Uh,
I don't know if the Gwen Stacy thing is going to be happening because it seems like Peter and Mary Jane have been on and off for his entire Spider-Man career. And especially if Norman Osborn hasn't been outed as the Green Goblin yet, I don't know if they would go there with Gwen Stacy.
I mean, he doesn't need to know that, or Peter doesn't need to know that Norman is Green Goblin. Or
Yeah, that's fair.
you could do the classic Stan Lee thing and just have him get hit on the head and forget that he's Goblin.
Oh yeah, that.
And so I guess, I mean, Peter just keeps giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Not unless they do a weird thing where it's like they switch out Gwen Stacy for Mary Jane in this game. I don't think they would.
They're going to do the Ultimate thing, which sucked.
Oh
Yeah.
god, don't get me started on that.
Oh, that was the worst.
Yeah, that was what the fuck, Brent. What the fuck,
And
goodness.
then they just decided to kill Gwen anyways down the line
Yeah, but then they brought her back.
as a clone. Venom thing.
Yeah, they did Clone Saga in Ultimate.
I love the fact that in the Ultimate Universe, the Gwen that is a clone is more like the normal Gwen.
Yeah, like original Gwen in the Ultimate Universe was like, what the hell was her character? That was just weird.
She kept pulling like knives on people. It was weird. Yeah.
Fine lady.
This stuff. It'd be interesting if, I wonder if we're going to get the Clone Saga having happened in this universe, like the original. I mean,
That was,
I don't know. I mean, they just said that this is Peter Parker's game, so I don't know if they would focus on that.
well, I mean, just if it happened in his past, because that does definitely leave a mark on him. Though I guess that depends on if Gwen is dead or not.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, again, I'm the Spidey newbie here.
Is Craven going to be in this game?
We don't know. We don't know if.
His last.
So again, we know Vulture, Electro, Shocker, Rhino, and who else? Oh, and Scorpion. We know those 5, and then obviously Mr. Negative, and Kingpin. But we don't know if Chameleon, Tinker, Dr. Octopus, Sandman, Lizard, the Big Man, Mysterio, Green Goblin, Craven, Molten Man,
Sinister Six. Wait, some.
Oh, they are.
Silvermane,
Well, we mentioned-
Morbius, Hammerhead, Jackal. We don't know if any of those characters are going to be in the game.
That was Spawn? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be really cool if
Oh,
we got Tombstone and the Enforcers in this.
Yes.
I'd be curious.
I
Venom,
want to
too.
play as Fancy Dan.
I want to play as Montana.
It's kind of weird. I wanted to have like a Green Goblin though, where I can just fly the Goblin air glide around the city.
You can do that. You can do that in the original Spider-Man movie game from 2002.
I thought you could do that.
You know what'd be cool? What if we get the Spider Buggy?
Oh, I would love the Spider-Mobile.
So long as it's not used the same way as it was in Arkham Knight. That's
They're just mowing people over. But it'd be so cool because you can go up walls and shit with that thing.
Wait, I'm crashing all your windows. Enjoy property damage, bitches.
yeah, that's how I drive. That'd be awesome. And apart from that, Spider version of Arkham, Red, what's it called again?
What?
That Spider version of the Spider version of Arkham.
Ravencroft.
Ravencroft, thank you.
Oh yeah.
It'd be cool if you could visit there and see the villains you defeated. Like, I'd put this villain from the side mission in prison. I can see now him. Now we go to his little prison area, and he says something to you, and then you leave.
Ooh, what if
Maybe.
we get Lapardon?
Ooh.
That would be really weird but epic.
The thing is, like, so we know that Vulture and Electro are in the game, but then the other 4 members of the Sinister Six haven't been talked about. So I would imagine that the Sinister Six would probably play a big part in the game. And maybe that's, like, maybe Doc Ock is the main villain of the game, and it's, like, the last 2 acts of the game are Sinister Six. Like, I would be down for that.
And at the end of the game, they show up in Lapardon, and then Peter steals it.
Yeah.
I just want Peter in a giant mech. That's all I ask for.
That'd be awesome.
Get the mech, Parker.
And just team it up with Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
Why not? But yeah,
Other thing we haven't talked about. Anybody want to jump in?
do you guys, other than the backpacks, do you guys think we'll get something else similar to the Riddler questions or anarchy tags kind of thing?
Maybe. I don't know what the gimmick would be. Maybe like a villain. Like, what's the villain? Well, they all have gimmicks.
I don't know, like maybe illusions by Mysterio.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a good idea. We know that the Taskmaster one is like him doing stuff around the city that's not just bombs, so maybe that's one thing. But I think that, like, as far as because when you, for the alternate skins, you have to craft alternate skins, and you get materials to craft that stuff by getting experience points and doing side missions. So I don't know if they would go so far as to have like 400 plus like different like I don't know if they would go that far, because at some point it just gets kind of repetitive.
Well, to avoid that, that's why I'm suggesting more spread it out. So you have like 50 with the backpacks, maybe 20 like fake crimes by Mysterio, stuff like that, so that you don't have to do a bunch of things with the Riddler. Kind of like what Origins did by dividing that into Riddler stuff and anarchy tags, so that it didn't feel as repetitive.
That's a good idea.
Honestly, I would like something similar to the anarchy thing, now that I think about it, with the bombs. I guess that's what Taskmaster's doing. Having to race from one side of the city to the other is cool.
That'd be cool. Do you always play as not mean Spider-Man in terms of the are you always in the suit? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Is there ever like
No.
So you will play as Peter Parker?
Yeah, you'll play as Peter Parker and Mary Jane. Like they talked about this, how it's a hard balance, because it's like, do you want to play as Peter Parker? Not necessarily, but Peter Parker is an important part of the story, which is why they're saying yes, you could play as Peter Parker. Not unlike, I mean, I don't think you'll be doing any fighting as Peter, but yeah, you will be able to.
That's
I mean,
nice.
maybe like the first fight in Arkham Knight or Arkham Origins Cold Heart.
Yeah, I would love to play as Peter, since I've always found him the most interesting part of the character.
I mean, that'd be cool.
It'd be fun if you could just have a Spider-Man like dating sim in the middle of this game.
Yeah, that'd be.
Don't go to the bridge. That's yeah.
Familiar faces.
I actually want that now. A Spider-Man dating simulator. That sounds like you can market that.
And every single one ends up dying.
Exactly. Good for your self-esteem, gentlemen.
It's
Let's.
not a Daredevil dating sim. That'd just be depressing. It's like, oops, you were talking to Karen, so Heather hung herself.
Oh,
That
God.
happened.
Yeah, let's not go
Thanks,
there.
Denny O'Neil.
Yep.
But yeah, back to the Spider-Man game and off topic of Matt Murdock's horrible love life. Since this is going to be in a larger Marvel universe, Do you think any other do you think Iron Man or Captain America will make a brief cameo at any point?
Or Human Torch.
Human Torch would be great if there is the FF.
I could see at the very least them getting a mention. Maybe like you pass the Captain America Museum or something, if there is one. Maybe Human Torch. I like your Matt Murdock idea, Red. That could be definitely something that happens. I feel like Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious what you guys think the other two DLC things will be, considering the first one is Black Cat.
And we know Kingpin's in the game.
If they had enough time to have known about the Fox deal, then I would, or at least if that deal was in the works, making Marvel more willing to do this kind of stuff, I would imagine at least one of them would be Fantastic Four or X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other ones, because it has to be,
I can see Iron Man.
These DLCs aren't going to be just like add-on missions. They're going to be kind of like Cold Heart, right?
Kind of. We're not really sure. We know there's just additional content coming.
But they're going to be like additional stuff after the main story.
Yeah.
I can see Iron Man.
Then,
I can see Iron Man.
Yeah, or maybe something else specifically within Spider-Man's universe still. Maybe something to do with the Aftermath. I mean, depending on the villains, you could potentially get something kind of like how the Red Hood DLC worked in Arkham Knight. Or the Nightwing DLC being about Penguin. Kind of like that. Like there would be a gap in the underworld after the main villains are both gone, so it's possible that could be all about like Hammerhead and the Enforcers.
Do you think these villains will die at the end? Not just go to prison?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay. I was saying.
I mean, if they die, they can just come back in the next game because it's Spider-Man villains.
Yeah. They'll do that. I can see Fantastic Four or Iron Man. Those are kind of like my two DLC guesses at the moment. If I had to put some betting money on it.
What if we get a mention of Alias?
Ooh, that'd be cool.
White Tiger could also make an appearance.
I mean, Jessica Jones is a little bit involved with Peter's history since they kind of went to high school.
Yeah, and she was obsessed with him.
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
I actually like that addition, especially the Luke Cage scene where she's like, "Oh, I was in love with him in high school," and he's like, "Wait, had a crush or I was in love with? Those are different things. I need an explanation."
Yeah, he is so jealous and pissed.
They're just sitting in one of the Quinjets, and Peter's like, "So, your wife was in love with me in high school." Well, it looks just like we are not fucking having this conversation here.
Awkward.
He's just like in his head, just like, don't say it.
I can't remember what issue that was.
Peter's dated the entire Marvel universe. Like, I don't know where it's from, but there's this one panel from an Avengers issue where someone walks into a room, and I guess they're trying to find Moon Knight, and they're like, "Did anyone in here date Moon Knight at some point?" And they're all just like, nope. And Peter's like, kinda. Maybe.
He has dated Ms. Marvel at one point. Well, I mean, Carol Danvers, not Kamala, because that'd be crazy.
That'd be horrifying.
I would hate that.
Well, I think Marvel wouldn't go that. Well, I mean, only DC has done that. Only DC's made their hero a straight-up pedophile. Marvel's not done that before.
Not yet. Well, one day.
Yeah. But again, we thought that was the case with DC, and then the Hal Jordan thing happened.
Exactly. I just like the idea now, just like, who haven't you dated, Peter? It's like, right, have you dated your villains, you dated your heroes? Who haven't you dated? Did you date Captain America? Did you date Iron Man?
Who haven't you dated? Whoever's alive.
Did you date Red Skull once? I don't know.
He could totally have dated Red Skull's daughter, Sin.
Yeah.
Wouldn't Crossbones just murder his ass if he tried?
Yeah, maybe.
We'll date him later.
Either way, I could totally see Crossbones doing both.
That's my girlfriend, douche. Bang.
Well, and that was the Who Peter Parker dated portion of the podcast. Anything else interesting, Jake, you haven't mentioned that you probably want to bring up before?
No, not really. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I just hope that, like I said in the beginning, like the strength of the narrative is the thing that's going to distinguish this between being a good game and a great game. Because everything we've talked about the narrative, like that hasn't been about the narrative, sounds great. Like the gameplay, the mechanics, the suits, the crafting, like switching around, the open world, all that stuff seems great. It's just a lot of pressure is riding on this narrative for them to get it right. And even if it's not that great, it's still going to be a good game. But if they hit the mark on that, it's going to be a really great game.
Oh yeah, I could totally see people playing, even if the story stinks, I could totally see people just playing it like, I could customize the suit and do cool things with the webbing and just roam around the world. Which I love doing. That's what I love about open world, just roaming around, looking, seeing things, exploring.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
So yeah, I guess Red and Nathan, I'll let you guys give your final thoughts. Red, how about you? You start. Final thoughts.
I'm optimistic about this and interested.
Okay, Nathan, final thoughts.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I'm loving everything I've been hearing so far. I hope it doesn't turn out bad. I hope it turns out pretty good. I trust Insomniac. That's my thing. I trust them since they've earned my trust based on the stuff they've worked on over the years, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
I have same sentiments, and again, even if I hope the story is great, but even if it sucks, I do think we're gonna get a good game part of the game. So yeah, folks, that was it. That was our Spideylation for our Spider-Man PS4 game, which comes out. I just realized I never looked at when it came out.
September 7th.
September 7th, 2018. So look forward to it, folks. I hope it's good, and I hope you all enjoy it. Until then, see ya later.